Have you ever found yourself staring at a box of old concert tickets or maybe a chipped coffee mug you never ever use and just felt stuck? Like you physically couldn't bring yourself to throw it away? Well, if that's you, you are definitely not alone. And spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with being messy. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of why we hold on so tightly to things.
It's a question we've all probably asked ourselves, right? Usually while standing in front of a closet that's about to explode. Why do we cling to stuff that seems to have completely outlived its purpose? Turns out the answer is way more interesting than just, clutter. And this, right here, is the absolute heart of it. The struggle isn't actually with the physical thing, the t-shirt, the book, whatever it is. No, the real battle is happening inside of us. It's this deep, instinctual drive to protect our memories, our feelings, and even the parts of who we used to be.
Okay, so let's get into it. And first, we have to just clear the air and get rid of some of these labels that get thrown around, because frankly, they're not helpful and they miss the point entirely. This isn't some kind of character flaw. So someone might look at a cluttered room and see disorganized, but the psychological truth is that it's actually rooted in protecting memory. What might look like lazy is really about a powerful, complex emotional connection. And what gets dismissed as just being messy is often deeply tied to our very sense of identity. So if it's not about being messy, what's actually going on in our brains? Well, there's this incredibly powerful psychological process at play, and it's called anchoring. Emotional anchoring, it's basically when our brain creates this super strong, totally unconscious link between an object and a feeling. So that old worn-out band t-shirt, it's not just a piece of cotton. It's a direct anchor to the feeling of being 17 at your first concert. And this is the perfect way to think about it. We use these physical things kind of like external hard drives, but for our feelings. They hold these precious data files from our past, and we are terrified of losing them. And the connection is so real, so tangible. When you pick up that object, it's not just a fuzzy, distant thought. Your brain can instantly pull up the file. You can access the exact feeling of that moment, you can see the faces of the people you were with, and you can feel that specific sense of safety and belonging you had back then. So you see, this is why it feels so high stakes. It's got nothing to do with just tidying up. For your brain, the act of throwing that object away feels terrifyingly like dragging a crucial part of your own personal story into the trash can. It feels like you're deleting a part of yourself. Now, this whole process gets even more complex because it's not always just our own feelings we're trying to protect. Often, it's about the feelings of other people, feelings that we've sort of projected onto the objects themselves. I mean, think about how this works. A friend gives you a gift. Right away, that object transforms. It's not just a mug anymore, it's now a physical symbol of their love and their thoughtfulness. So when you even think about getting rid of it, your brain doesn't see it as just discarding an item. It feels like you're rejecting the person who gave it to you. And if this sounds familiar, you're not alone. This is especially strong in people who are highly empathetic. You're so wired to not hurt other people's feelings that it extends even to inanimate objects, because those objects are now carrying the weight of someone else's kindness. You would never want to hurt the person, so you feel like you can't hurt the gift. But here's the wild twist in all of this. The very strategy we use to find comfort and safety can actually backfire and become a major source of our stress. Think about it, our intention is to feel safe, to feel connected to our past. That's what we're reaching for. But the actual result of piling up all these physical anchors, it's often the exact opposite. We end up feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and just mentally exhausted. And look, this isn't just a vibe, it's actual biology. Research has shown that living in a highly cluttered space has a direct physical effect on us. It's linked to higher levels of cortisol, which is our body's main stress hormone. So the very sanctuary you've built is unintentionally putting your body on high alert. And the impact of that is very real. All that physical stuff is constantly pulling at your brain's attention, which overloads your working memory. It can make simple, everyday decisions feel impossible, and it just drains your mental clarity, leaving you in this state of constant low-grade distraction. This quote just nails the whole paradox perfectly. You surround yourself with things to feel safe, but the physical noise all that stuff creates is keeping your brain in this constant humming state of stress. So, what do we do with all this? Where do we go from here? Well, the way forward isn't about forcing yourself to throw things away. It's about reframing the entire story. And let's start with the most important thing I can tell you. You are not broken. You're not crazy or lazy or any of those other labels. You simply have a mind that is wired to feel things very deeply, to value connection, and to honor your past. Honestly, that's a feature, not a bug.
And this brings us to the most freeing realization of all. The things you are so desperately trying to protect with all these objects, the love, the joy, the experiences, they were never actually in the objects to begin with. They're already safe. They live inside of you.
Which means you have permission. You're allowed to let go of the physical weight, not because you're erasing your past, but because you're making room. You're making mental and emotional space for the person you are right now and the person you're still growing into. And really, that's the question I want to leave you with. By letting go of the physical anchors that tie you to who you were, what amazing new experiences, what new people, what new version of yourself are you finally making room for?